Now, you find me in a very familiar position. I often find myself stood here, admiring Freddy, thinking about weight loss. No, not mine, his. So welcome back to the Dadskillz car channel, and we are at my living room window, looking out, admiring Freddy and Dennis. But in this episode, Freddy. So when I'm looking at Freddy, I'm thinking about weight loss and marginal gains. And oftentimes while I'm stood here thinking about this, muttering to myself, my wife makes the suggestion that some of the biggest gains could be made by offloading some of my spare tyres. That's particularly rude and not something we can contemplate in this video, and it certainly won't happen overnight. So let's take a look at Freddy. Yes, so really in this video, what I'm after is taking another kilo out of Freddy. Is that possible? I don't know. Let's take a look, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is actually add some more weight back onto Freddy. And what we're going to put on is this sun strip across the top of the windscreen. $48 grams. Nice. But my finger doing that seems to be doing a perfect job, so I'm sure it's right. So this stuff was a bit of a tale of two halves, really. So you see here we start, and we've got lots of lines in, and what happens is when you pull this stuff, you pay the price somewhere and you have to include these lines because you pulled it. And then we got the method, and you see this bit is all nice and smooth. And what I worked out was, as you're going along, instead of doing it straight and like that, you do it in an arc. And that arc allows you then to put, to take the creases out as you go. It's difficult to explain really, but you do the arc, you can apply a lot more in one go, and you also take your marks out as you go. So that will need doing again because it's crap, but for the time being, it'll do. So with the sun visor on, that means we can take these out. We are zeroed. Put that on there so it doesn't touch the table anyway. It's not resting on anything. 632 with those two sun visors on there and all the screws and stuff. So minus 24 because that was half the weight of the sun visor we put on. So it's, what is that, 608? 608 grams we've taken out so far. So before we go to the back of the car, is there anything here that's an easy win? Weight saving wise, these things are knackered anyway, but all this needs replacing. But we're going to take all this off for now. That bit can stay there. It's just knackered, isn't it? On this side, most of it's gone already, but we'll take that off. Now, the biggest weight saving we could do here is this bonnet. It weighs an absolute ton. But that's not for today's video, but if you know anything about how to make a fiberglass mould or anything, tell me in the comments. Take me to a video. Put me in contact with someone who knows what they're doing. I would love to make a fiberglass bonnet for this. It's so heavy. Right, anything else in here? This has always struck me as something that could go, but to get rid of it, we just need something to go over that. So before we get to the really interesting stuff, there's all these clips left over. What is there? There's one more that side, and there's like 3 or 4 this side. Everything counts, I suppose. So the next thing I've thought about long and hard for a long time and not tackled it yet is all this stuff. This sort of, I suppose it's where heavy things will go, just to protect the body, but there's loads of it. Must weigh an absolute ton, relatively. And I don't particularly want to make too much noise and too much mess today. So we might just ease our way around. I could heat it up, I suppose, but once you get going, it actually comes off quite nicely. So let's carry on with that for a bit, shall we? Until we get bored. Right, okay, we've done it. And I think, look down there, look at all that stuff. I think this is all we've got time for now before the next auto test. I'm busy tomorrow as well, so let's have a look. Do you know what? I'm going to be intrigued to weigh all this stuff. That's pretty heavy, is that? I'm impressed. Right, I've moved it around a bit just so there's nothing resting on the table. And we have 1,295 grams. So I'll total that up with our weight from before. Absolutely smashed our goal of 1 kilogram. Ah! So we're a couple of days later now, and how did we get on? I know what you're thinking. We've taken around 2 kilograms out of the car, which is double what I was aiming for, which was great. And that means the car must be as light as a feather. And we surely must have won it by 1,000 seconds. Well, no. Quite disappointingly. There were 28 competitors. One got disqualified for having the wrong tyres. Risky business. I came 13th. Me and Freddy came 13th. Unlucky for us, I know. And I must say... not really in the spirit of things, I was really disappointed. I had a lot of fun, but to come 13th, it's not even a battle against the other competitors, really. It's more a battle against yourself. And I have quite a strong competitive spirit in something that I think I can do well in. And I know I can do well in this, but 13th, it was difficult to stomach that one. So I think in the future it's a case of, I spoke to a couple of guys there and I learned a couple of very important things, so it was very worthwhile exercise even in that respect. So we move on to the next one. That's it for this video, but coming up, if you like your classic minis, stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel, that's all I'm saying. If you want to see me wielding a welder in anger for the first time on this channel, stick around. It's going to be cool. But until the next time, goodbye.